everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Guardians of Liberty podcast. Myself, Nathan Parada, your host, joined, as always, with my co-host, Zach Taylor. What's up, Zach?
What's up? It has been a day to forget.
Oh, yeah. It hasn't been the best weekend. I mean, it's cold. It's overcast. It's been windy all day. Work's been a pain in the rear. But we're back here to talk about libertarian values, just like always. I don't know. Tomorrow's Easter.
Oh, I forgot the nameplates. There we go.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
That means we have to talk about the Satanic Church or something because we're libertarians, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
We
can't just enjoy a nice religious holiday weekend. We gotta create controversy with stupid social media posts.
Because that hasn't already been happening this week.
Oh yeah, we do have our social media controversy of the week, don't we? And it's from the usual suspects too.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've been too busy fighting with socialist caucus dudes to pay attention to anything else. You want to talk about this at all, or do we just want to breeze right through it because
Let's roll into the free speech stuff.
All right. As long-time listeners,
talking about a place that doesn't have any, apparently.
Exactly. As long-time listeners of the program know, me and Zach started this podcast out talking about the importance of freedom of speech and why we're both free speech absolutists when it comes to this issue.
Except for hate speech. Like, hate speech isn't allowed.
And by hate speech, we mean anything that we don't like.
Yeah, basically.
If someone says something I disagree with, it's hate speech, and they need to be put in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And they're automatically a Nazi.
Yes.
Because that's how things work these days. You
I'm glad we're clear on everything.
Exactly. So, yeah, we've talked about freedom of speech quite a bit. You know, we defend the rights of everybody to have their own opinions, to express those opinions, and to not be convicted in a court of law for being offensive or rude or whatever the case may be. And in the United States, we're very lucky that we have a First Amendment enshrined in our Constitution. From the very beginning of this republic, we have understood why freedom of speech has to be considered near absolute. We acknowledge that freedom of speech is probably the most important right that exists. Because without freedom of speech, we cannot engage in an open marketplace of ideas. We cannot discover new ideas. We cannot engage people over their ideas and express our own. It creates a static society. So we're very lucky in this country to have free speech. Unfortunately, our cousins across the pond over in the United Kingdom, they aren't so lucky.
Specifically Scotland in this case.
Yep, the Scots. They apparently do not see eye to eye with us. They don't understand the value of freedom of speech because very recently a YouTube comedian who goes by the name Count Dankula was convicted in a Scottish court of violating hate speech laws because he taught his girlfriend's pug to give a Nazi salute on the signal of gas the Jews. I believe their thing was gas the Jews and Sieg Heil. Yeah, he taught his girlfriend's pug to do these things. And expressly in the video, he did this because he said his girlfriend's love of that dog went way too far. And he wanted to show her that this dog was not this perfect little angel. And so he taught this dog to give a Nazi salute.
Which, I'm sorry, that's really funny.
Yeah, you watch the video, it's not like the dog just kind of lifts his legs up a bit. Say how. He just kind of lifts his leg up.
I want to know how you train a pug to do that anyway, because like those aren't the smartest dogs in the world. And I can't even. It's hilarious.
It's essentially a It's essentially like teaching your dog how to shake. That's all a
I
dog
guess.
does. He just lifts his arm up.
Mm.
So yeah, the Scottish courts they arrested him for this dank video of his. The oh my man. Apparently during the reading of the conviction, the consideration of freedom of speech, it was taken into consideration. But the context that the video was made in, the judge didn't believe Mr. Dankula when he said he was a joke. He said that the creator of the content does not get to decide the context in which it is made. Essentially, the judge in this case gets to decide what the context is. And if the judge decides that the context is inciting racial violence, then it doesn't matter what the actual creator of the video says. It doesn't actually matter what the actual intent was. If the judge says the intent was to incite racial violence, then that apparently becomes fact in the eyes of the Scottish legal system.
So I gotta stop. So you guys know how much I talk about being Scottish and how much I love it. I have it, my clan tattooed on me. Here's the thing you have to understand about Scottish people. All the good Scottish people, the ones with balls that liked freedom and all of that shit, either died or were enslaved and shipped off to America and Australia during the last Jacobite uprising. It was like 1746. The rest of them are the... What's a good word that's not going to get us demonetized?
Well, I don't think you have to worry about that, so just go ahead and say it.
So y'all know what I'm
cucks.
saying. The rest of them are all a bunch of wimps. It's the lowlanders who stayed, who have been, they've had their manliness bred out of them by the English. The good ones left. That's all I'm saying.
It's not
we need to migrate back to Scotland and kick all the cucks essentially out of our country and reestablish the rampant masculinity that was the Scottish people, because this is unacceptable.
It absolutely amazes me the depths that our cousins across the ponds will go to now. Because I mean, we see some of this nonsense here. I mean, we saw this during the presidential election cycle, where these Antifa fools would be running around demanding that people that they call Nazis be deplatformed and not allowed to speak. You know, Nazis like Ben Shapiro or Milo Yiannopoulos, you know, guys like that. But apparently this dude, he's not even allowed to tell a joke and say it was a joke. No, the judge gets to decide whether or not it was a joke. As if the judge has some kind of clairvoyance to see into this dude's mind and just knows that somehow. Apparently, Scottish judges have superpowers. That's a thing now.
Yeah, well, I mean, people who gain any kind of rank in Scotland have historically sold out their days and days gone by, so we're used to that by now.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Like anything, literally anything, could be considered a hate crime if this is the legal standard we're using. I mean, I remember seeing a guy.
So, did you see what the guy who was the head of the Jewish organization that was whining about this? Did you hear what he was talking? That guy is the biggest. I'm trying not to use the P word here because I'm trying to be polite, but holy crap. A little oversensitive much. Like, we Scottish people don't particularly complain about the 800 years of rape and pillage that happened to us. And y'all need to move past where jokes offend you about historical events. I'm sorry. Grow a pair. Terrible things have happened to about every racial group in the world. You don't get to milk that forever.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. It's like, my family died in the Holocaust. I don't see how anyone could consider this a joke. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's an insensitive joke. I'll give you that. It's in very poor taste.
But
the guy
hilarious.
does
That's what, in poor taste is what makes it funny.
Yeah, some jokes. I mean, I didn't find it particularly funny because I'm like, meh, whatever. But it's not that I didn't find it funny because it's in poor taste. I like.
You know, okay, I might just find it funny because of how they've reacted to it.
That
because
might
I'm
be
so
it.
far removed from having seen it the first time that now it's just like it's hilarious. Like how sometimes Trump is hilarious just because of how triggering he is for these people. Yeah. Not because Trump himself is really all that hilarious. That. We're there. This man channeled. Oh, I can't deal with this. Like these are my people, and they have sunk to a level of unmasculine behavior that is so low that I can't see it from where I'm at. It's like the hole is dark. I can't see the floor where you're at right now. You need to come up a little bit.